We have this one thought about emotion that is that they are volatile, and so we think emotions are something irrational. The one reason why things explode is because we all carry pent-up emotions. When we look at our modern life, there are a lot of situations that don't make real sense, and that means.
Welcome back to FlavRReport, part of dailyovation.com. I'm Joe Winger. Today we're continuing our conversation, part of the series, with Stephan Perdekamp and Sarah Victoria from the Perdekamp Emotional Method, PAM. This access points and triggers and clusters, just before we move on, is this part of the energy economy, or is that?
Yeah, so what is very important, we have this one thought about emotion that is that they are volatile, that they are random. We see people freak out with energy that doesn't fit the situation, and so we think emotions are something irrational. And I would oppose that view strongly. The one reason why things explode is because we all carry pent-up emotions, and then in a situation where a certain movement pattern gets triggered, for example, somebody wants something from you and makes you afraid, all that stored fear from other situations breaks out in that moment, and you get at that person, no, I'm not going to do this, and they say, what's wrong with you? That's completely inadequate to the situation. You're so emotional. So if looking at it from the evolutionary point of view, imagine a group of hunters having inadequate emotional reactions. So we stumbled onto a lion lying around, in the savannah. It's warm, it's good, and then these little humans crawl around. So he stands up and says, "Okay, who wants to get eaten first? Breakfast." Now imagine one of our guys gets a laughing fit. How would that happen, right? We can't, but if emotions were random, that could happen. So that guy would be meal number one, right? But we won't. The two reactions that we traditionally work with, that our subconscious goes to, the one is running away, of course, and the other one is to attack. And it depends on usually the pack leader, so the hunter leader, which pattern gets applied first. If he's a good leader, he mobilizes the energy of his folks, triggers their forward movement, and all the spears go towards the lion. But it's a senseful movement. Cool. So when we look at our modern life, there are a lot of situations that don't make real sense. For example, school. Emotionally doesn't make sense. You go to a math class, and I wasn't good at math, which meant that from I liked math to some degree, and then sort of it got beyond my mental powers, and from then on it was a threat. Yeah, it threatened my status, it threatened my safety, it threatened my self-image, it threatened the image towards my teachers, and so I had to move. Contrary to my biological needs, I had to move into that danger and sit down, which is insane, for 45 minutes and just wait until he catches you again and points out to everybody how dumb you are, right? So, and that repeats over years. So we have actually, societally created ways where the biology is not furthered, it's not used well, it's actually suppressed and contradicted. And that means that people have action patterns in them alive, but they can't operate them. And those action patterns eat up energy. They're electrically triggered potential movement that just waits to be started and eats up energy, eats up energy, eats up energy. And when you understand this, it's a question of time that your body is loaded with hundreds, if not thousands, 10,000 of little movements that eat a little bit of current all the time to just, stay alive in case you need it. And your body gets depleted and we get exhausted, right? So understanding emotions, enabling people to balance them, to work them consciously, get rid of those movement patterns and start afresh is a question of economy. It's a question of balance, of peace, calm, and the ability to start with the adequate energy in every situation instead of being loaded with stuff from the past.